Hey everybody, this is Craig Cottle, the Director of Nature Reliance School, and I wanted to come to you today to tell you about who and where I got this cool t-shirt, as well as a couple of tips to help you become a better tracker. Number one, this beautiful find right here, as well as something we'll relate regarding the sun. So glad you're with us. Some of our regular followers will know that I have been doing judo now for about 23 years and had a wonderful opportunity recently to have in the state of Kentucky Neil Adams, who was a fantastic international level judoka who was coming through and taught a number of seminars in the state of Kentucky and surrounding states. Good fortune is that one of my friends who does judo asked me if I could take a day and work with Neil and his family on some basic survival methodology, tracking, fire building, stuff of that nature, and I was very pleased to do so. So Neil and his wonderful wife Nikki were very, very kind people, and I enjoyed spending some time with them. What we did is we went up to the Red River Gorge here in the state of Kentucky, which is an international destination for climbers. One of my other friends, Robert Burge, took them on a rappelling trip and that I was not able to make, and then I took over after we ate some real good pizza at Miguel's. If you're from Kentucky, you know what I'm talking about. And then we just went and just hung out in the woods and talked about some tracking things. They sent me this shirt back. This is a Neil Adams shirt. You need to check out his judo system if you're interested in his analytical teaching systems. Fantastic website. I'll have a link below for you. Now with that said, one of the things that when I showed him and his family some things about tracking, they were just like, woo, that's really cool. It's real simple, and you can teach this to anyone. This is not just for operators, this is for family members so that you can see more tracks the next time that you're out. So what we have here is what a good tracker will call a track trap. Track trap is in any area where you're going to have a real good opportunity and it's real easy to see tracks. And so a good mud hole, a good bare spot on a trail where there's a lot of leaf litter, a sandy area where there hasn't been any sand is a good spot for you to find tracks. Now the beauty of this is that should be fairly obvious, but what we know is that if we can find a track trap, what we can do is go to it, gather information about what type of animals are going through the area, if there's any vehicles that have been through the area, is there human activity through the area, and then we can start to apply that knowledge out past the track trap. And so a track trap is an incredibly useful resource for anybody interested in tracking. So if you're out and about and you're going down a trail and you run into something that looks like what I would refer to as a track trap, then you are going to find a plethora of knowledge. And so take your time, stop at the track trap, and get as much information as you possibly can. Now the next tip I'm going to tell you is something that you can apply to any type of track that you might find on the ground. One of the simplest things you can do if you want to look at more tracks and get more detail out of them is set yourself up in this manner. You want to have the sun, you want to have the track, and you want to have you. So in essence, sun, track, you. Basically what's happening there, if you do this properly, is if the sun is shining on a track, it creates a lot of shadows, because basically the shadows are what it is that you're seeing most of in variance to the sunlight that's casting over or on top of or through the track. So again, set yourself up on sun, track, you. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the camera up as if it is you on a very distinct track that I have purposely made in this track trap. And that'll give us an opportunity to talk about some of this sun, track, you and how to see more detail. So this is the track that I was telling you about a moment ago. And what I've done is I have purposely put this right in the middle of that track trap in an effort that you can see it real well. I've taken the camera and put it down in the position of someone who would be squatting down, not necessarily down on all fours, but squatting down looking at this track. So it's about a good 3 foot off the ground. What I want to point out to you is that you'll see the detail through here because there's a lot of shadow cast on these different edges. So you're seeing two different things. You're seeing the shine on the ridge, what I would refer to as the ridge tops, the tops of the portion, which is basically the indentations within the lugs of the shoe. So think of it, this is just the opposite of what the shoe does. And so the ridge tops here, like this ridge top and this ridge top, are the inside of the lugs of my shoe. Now, what happens is that you see the shine on top of the ridge tops, and down in you get shadows that are cast, particularly during the time of day of early morning or late afternoon, or right before evening, before the sun goes down. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to completely take the sun away in this track. So now the track is completely covered by a shadow, and you'll notice that you cannot see as much detail. So what I want to do is slowly move it away so that you can see how much detail comes back as I remove the shadow and sunlight cast into this track, so that you can see more shadows within the track as well as the shiny, in essence, ridge tops. I really hope that it helps you the next time you head out into the woods or the beach or wherever it is that you might be, that you get to see more detail in track. Sun Track U is an incredibly simple and useful tool, and finding track traps anywhere is going to be the best bet for particularly beginners to start finding tracks and trying to decipher all the information you can gather out of them. So a big thank you to my new friends, Neil and Nikki Adams from the UK. Thank you guys for sending me the shirt. I really appreciate it. And again, everybody, check out the description below for some information about Neil and Nikki and Neil Adams' teaching and judo methods. So I really appreciate the opportunity I got to spend with them. Their daughters were beautiful. They're very well respectful. I got to spend some time with Nikki's mother as well. Very fantastic lady from Canada. So next time you get an opportunity to hang out with some cool people, do your best to be an ambassador for the area in which you live. Get some people outside and introduce them to the natural world, and listen to them tell you about their natural world. The more we get people outside in Canada, the UK, Kentucky, California, Florida, wherever it might be, the better off this world's going to be. So come on, join in. Let's learn together.